what I have found about women is they are the most supportive set of people ever. They don't focus on those little things, and they share your joy about your business. You share their joy. It's such a massively supportive network.
Hello, my extraordinary women friends. We are stepping into next quarter's theme on Extraordinary Women Radio on visibility and movement making. And today's episode is going to be definitely talking about movement making. I'm so glad you're here to join us. This is a conversation I care deeply about because visibility at its highest level is leadership. It's using your voice to carry an idea into the world, gathering people around something that matters, and allowing your work to become bigger than you. And when women use their visibility to open doors for other women, we begin to shift what is possible for all of us. This is exactly where today's conversation takes us. But first, we are getting so close to Extraordinary Women Ignite, happening November 5th through 7th in Colorado. Ignite is where extraordinary women entrepreneurs gather to explore fresh ideas and expand what's possible in their business and build the relationships that help us grow with greater purpose and prosperity and joy. Early bird tickets are on sale now through September 15th, and I would love to welcome you in the room of amazing women. You can get your tickets on sale at kamiguildner.com/ignite. Today, I am joined by Beth Mazza, a serial entrepreneur, an international keynote speaker, and a woman who knows what it takes to build significant businesses. Beth has built and sold multiple companies with 2 exits totaling $35 million, and now she's taking everything she has learned and putting it behind a much bigger mission, helping 10,000 women build 7-figure businesses and financial freedom. Beth and her business partner, Victoria Seivras, are the women behind Female Mavericks, and their upcoming book, Entrepreneur Like a Mother, brings their experience of building successful businesses while raising 9 children between the two of them into a blueprint for other women. I love the bigger conversation here. What happens when a woman takes everything she has learned, everything she has built, and turns her visibility toward creating possibility for thousands of other women? That's movement making. Let's meet Beth Mazza. Well, welcome to Extraordinary Women Radio, Beth. I am excited to have you here today. I've been just reading through all the things you have done in your career, and it's just so impressive. So welcome.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here.
Yeah. So let's start with your story. You have built and sold multiple businesses and really created significant wealth through entrepreneurship, which is so inspiring. What brought you from building your own companies to really wanting to create something bigger for women that you're really focusing on today?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I swear what I'm thinking about every day. I've got 4 kids. My youngest are 21. This is the last undergraduate tuition bill I have to pay. I'm sure there'll be, I'm sure there's more. And
Yeah.
I think I've been lucky enough to be able to retire. So I really spent a lot of time in the last year or two trying to figure out how I made some of the decisions I made, really awesome ones and really terrible ones.
Yeah.
And in the business front, there's just some really critical moments where I took big risks. And I'm not a person that does that like in my personal life.
Oh,
So I've done a lot
interesting.
of evaluation of that, and I'm trying to figure out, why would I take those risks for financial freedom?
So
And it
give us
kind
some examples.
of, I mean, first of all, my first business was, the clients had to be, because it was investor relations, public companies, CEOs, CFOs, and board members. So I was 27, 28, had no clients, hung up my shingle and started cold calling huge company CEOs. Like, I, I mean, and I only had like 2 or 3 months of cash runway,
Uh-huh.
and at that time, I was already looking to hire people. Like, I look at that mindset. And then I also look at, with the second business, we walked away from a pretty good offer. And I was 100% sure that was a bad offer and I could make more a couple years later. I just look at some of those decisions and I think, what the hell was I thinking? And
Yeah.
I realized that I had these people surrounding me, my family and my friends and mentors that, built me up, told me I could do it,
Mm-hmm.
told me how.
Mm-hmm.
I could
Mm-hmm.
sit down for an hour with someone and talk about a problem. And I had people in my network that said, oh, I would not do it that way. I do it this way. Here, talk to this other guy, right? So I had this amazing like playbook and network. And I realized that most women don't have that. Victoria and I do a lot of mentoring, just nonprofit, part of our foundation. And you realize when you talk to people, you've got these really brilliant women who have wonderful business ideas and they're executing, and they don't have a playbook or a network that they can bounce ideas off of. And I thought, well, at least I'll tell our story, right? Where not only do we have a playbook, we've done it twice, we've sold it twice, made a zillion mistakes, but we also have a playbook for how you build organically that group of
Mm-hmm.
people to help you. And one huge thing that I couldn't believe it when I started talking to younger women is how much they were paying for one-on-one coaching, business coaching
Mm-hmm.
from
Mm-hmm.
business coaches that didn't have experience versus it would always
Oh.
be the business coach that did have experience. So I think I put all those things together and thought, well, maybe, maybe some publisher will buy this story. And they did, for like
and that
5 cents or
and
something.
that's your book, The Entrepreneur Like a
Like
Mother.
a
Is that
mother.
what you're talking about there? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be able to get out the playbook of how you could build this playbook, but also this network. And I thought the only really authentic way to do it would be to tell the truth, which was I did it in really lovely and really ugly ways, raising 4 kids who are absolutely amazing. But that was such a
Mm-hmm.
huge part of the story, both the why and the how, that I wanted to integrate both, especially for those women who are moms who felt like I can't do it till my kids are much older, because I did
Yeah.
it as my kids were being born.
Yeah, I love this. So tell us just kind of the timeline, like the different businesses you built and then what you're building today.
Yeah, so I started Ashton when I was 28. I had another partner who was great, and we built up that business. And I think when I was maybe 35 or 36, we sold it to a
And what
large
was that
consulting
type of business?
firm.
Tell us what the business
It
was.
was they were always investor relations, which is a type of public relations
Yep.
consulting just
Mm-hmm.
for publicly held companies.
Yep.
And I loved it because it was a combination of investments, which I loved, but also writing and communicating, which I liked. So that was just kind of an interesting thing I stumbled into. I was actually in law school and I decided I wanted to go at night. And I got a lovely guy who ended up to be my mentor, who ran at the time the biggest investor relations firm. He said, "Sure, I'll hire you and I'll work within your law school time requirements." So that's honestly, that's how I got into it. So, uh, built that business. I was the primary salesperson, uh, learned all the good and bad things about client driven businesses because I didn't have any of that. And then sold it to a large consulting firm. And I went on as kind of the head of a big part of their consulting business. And I lasted 2 years. And
Mm-hmm. You're like,
I
I'm an
mean,
entrepreneur.
not only did I hate it, but I'm pretty sure I probably go down to the annals of the worst employee they ever had in their life. So, so at that time, I had met Victoria, my partner, in Claremont, and we both thought, well, we can do this better and smarter, and we'll get around our non-compete. And we started Claremont, so that was about 10 or 12 years, and just slowly built it with a lot of the lessons from the first business where I had really messed up,
Mm-hmm.
um, taking on debt and figuring out how much you were willing to spend on sales and hiring and making sure it wasn't a solopreneur type business, and then sold that. And then I just took some time off, and I don't know why I wrote a book proposal except for kind of what I told you. Like I had this story I wanted to get out,
Mm-hmm.
and we got Wiley agreed to publish it. And once we did that, we started to think about, well, how do we get it out in enough people's hands, which is where the idea of, let's first of all, let's build up our own community. It's a free community. We don't charge anything.
This is the Female Mavericks.
Yeah. And so we said, well, let's just build this community little by little so that when the book comes out, we'll have people to buy the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just got really into it and we started mentoring people within that community Then we did a course, which is free if you buy the book. And we thought, hey, when we were moms of really young kids, we were not sitting down to read a 282-page tome, but maybe we would listen to a course if it was done in like increments, like 10-minute increments or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the whole piece along with the book and the content is just how can we get this important, what we think is super important information, and hopefully it's at least resonates particularly with moms. How can we get it in whatever number of formats humanly possible that a
Mm-hmm.
woman who's so incredibly busy could find a way to read it or listen to it. So that's what we're doing right now, and we do a lot
Yeah.
of mentoring as well. But
Yeah. Yeah. I love the
mostly,
title of the book. I totally love the title. I feel
isn't it
like,
great?
yeah. So when I think about entrepreneur like a mother, what are some of the themes that come up as mothers?
Oh, I think number one is that this goal we all have of some balance where we'll give 50% to our kids, 50% to our business. It's just completely untrue. It's a fallacy. I don't know who sold it to us. We're all still buying it. It's a real mistake. So we really, in the first couple chapters, we really beat up the idea of balance. And we also really, I think, in doing all that research, it helped me understand why it is incredibly difficult for women to get funding, to launch businesses. And also, we think it's safer to stay in corporate. There's a whole section of research that kind of shows if corporations in over a period of time every year on average let 10% of their team go, that is not a safer route. So you can't
Right.
say entrepreneurship is super risky, but corporate is super stable. So that's
Right.
kind of the whole beginning of the book. So one is just like balance does not mean, I mean, balance is not a good conscript.
Yeah. I like the word integration because we can integrate our lives, but it's not trying to balance something equally out because it's, we're going to go through phases. We're
Never.
going to go through, where we're putting more attention on family or we're going to putting more attention on our businesses. And there's just it's much more organic than that.
Yeah, I think I like that idea because in any given day, you're trying to figure out how things fit together. I don't think you're trying to figure out how I can make them 50-50. I like your word.
Yeah, yeah. So I know right now that women are starting businesses at twice the rate as men right now, which is I think very
Really
exciting.
incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so incredible. And I just read an article even about this, and but at the same time, women are not achieving the same financial success with their businesses as men are. So tell us a little bit about what you're seeing and what is underneath of all of that.
Yeah, it's super frustrating to read that, and I'm gonna get canceled for what I'm about to say. I think women, the majority of women that I end up mentoring and talking to are doing it to themselves. They are questioning if they can do it. They are being extremely, extremely risk averse, which I don't think you can be as an entrepreneur. You don't have to be, crazy, happy go lucky, bet everything. But there is a certain amount of risk that you have to take. And so I think in our desire to make everything really good for the people we love, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely our superpower, right?
Right,
People, our
right,
kids, our family members, they come to us because we're gonna make it better. We're gonna make them feel so good. I think in our attempt to do that, I don't think sometimes we take the risks that we need to take
we're
to
playing
be
safe.
entrepreneurs. Yes, and I'm not sure. There's lots of times in entrepreneurship, as you know, that you do play it safe.
Yeah,
There are trigger moments where there is an opportunity. And if you want to get to the 7-figure level, or maybe get to the mid 6-figure level, which is an amazing level,
right, right,
that you have to be willing to pull the trigger and be super malleable and pivot. And I think that's difficult for women. Now, the other side of it being true that only 2% of venture funding goes to women,
right.
and that number is stable, right? So there's
Yeah.
no question that people are not, I'm in San Francisco. I feel like people are walking down the street with wads of cash. And if you say AI, they'll give it to you.
Mm,
As women, we don't experience that in the same way men do. So I'm super respectful of that for sure. But I think that on average, women's financial goals for their business are lower than men's.
Mm-hmm.
And I think their willingness to ask for 250,000 in seed money versus 50,000 is much different. And I think those are moments where you're really making a big difference in the potential size of your business.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a big
absolutely.
part of the reason we wrote the book, like, is
Yeah,
they position your business to be bigger. You may make a different decision. You may get to 500,000 and say, this is exactly what I want for my life.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
But you may
And
not.
I think also women will underprice themselves, right? They'll choose they'll
Always.
choose, they will not make that risk of the bigger ask. So whether it's VC funding, whether it's the pricing for their services, the pricing for their products, I
Yes.
think that's a lesson that I am constantly saying, okay, this do the math here, right? Do the math of what this can do for you and what that changes. And I think that's a big one.
Right. Raise your retainer, raise your hourly by 10%, and then extrapolate for that for 6 months. What does it look like? And Victoria, my partner, was always such a better pricer than I was because she was always saying, they're going to walk away if there's a 10% or 20% differential. No bet they're going to call. And they did
Yeah.
call, and you'd have the
Yeah.
debate. But I always thought that
Yeah.
was so good. Whereas I just thought, oh, let me put a more palatable number in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So anybody tuning in today, just really think about, what if you were increasing your prices 10 to 20%, and knowing that that's probably not going to be the deciding factor for somebody.
Right.
So I think that's a great one. Why do you think so many women are choosing entrepreneurship right now?
Oh, I've talked to everyone I can on this subject. So this is, subjective from what I've heard.
Hmm.
Number one, the corporate environment in the end hasn't changed.
Yeah,
Our wage gap
absolutely.
is still high. We don't have any access to childcare. Our childcare costs have gotten so
Crazy.
unbelievably
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
that the argument of staying in a corporate environment where it's less stable, the wage gap is there, and you still have to get full coverage for kids. I think that's become not only like monetarily taxing, but I think really emotionally taxing. I mean,
Yeah.
I just think the idea of rushing home to a kid who needs you, but not being comfortable rushing home because you're working in a corporate environment and you're not supposed to do that. That taxes women so much. I wish that for no one.
Yeah, I would agree. So as you're launching your book, you're really putting your voice out in, bigger ways. What what have you learned about using your voice and visibility to really move an idea beyond just yourself and beyond the businesses you've built into reaching more people and really creating a movement around that?
When I started this, I was super sensitive to the fact this is what I thought in my own head. I grew up in a relatively well to do family. When it came to raising seed money, I made 2 phone calls, I raised it. I always had a backstop if my business failed. I wasn't going to be out on the street. My kids weren't going to be out on the street. So I was so careful to not tell all the parts of my story because I didn't want someone to read it and go, yeah, that's yours because you had that experience. I didn't. What I have found about women is they are the most supportive set of people ever. They
Absolutely.
don't focus on those little things and they share your joy about your business. You share their joy. It's such a massively supportive network. And the other thing I have figured out, and this may be San Francisco specific, but it doesn't seem like it is, women who are my age, so I'm 58, who clearly have worked, it takes you a while to scratch the surface with them to get their real story out.
Yeah.
And when I do that, when I just shut up and listen, I am so blown away by women in the 70s and 80s who started big businesses, successful businesses, open new categories, and they were the only ones forever that
Yeah.
did it. And so
Yeah.
now they are your biggest cheerleader, which is what I want to be for people as much as I can be. But also, they don't talk about themselves very much. You really
Yeah.
have to, you got
You
to
have to
really,
pull it out. Yeah, you
yeah.
have to really
I
pull
think
that out. And it's,
something kind of
it's
cool about that.
yeah, one thing I think though is I think that's really unique in the world of women entrepreneurship. When I was in the corporate world that was not the same experience that I had with women in the
Okay.
corporate world. And so the experience of women in entrepreneurship, and I feel like Colorado has an amazing
Yes.
community of women entrepreneurs. It's there's so many different women's groups that got founded here in Colorado,
Yeah.
and they all collaborate together. They all work together. They all cheer each other on, and it's just magnificent to be a part of that. And I belong to eWomen Network and just spent the week last week in Dallas with for their annual Icon Summit. And again, it's just the same thing. It's like just the energy of women coming together and what sparks
Yeah.
and how they support one another and cheer each other on. It's such a wonderful experience.
I think I feel that way, and I had the same corporate uh, environment that you did. I did not feel that way when I worked in corporate, including like when my companies were acquired and I had to work in corporate.
Yeah.
I felt this competition or side eye, and I always wonder kind of, and then I got into the entrepreneurial world and everyone was supportive, and I just wonder if there are just so few women at the really senior levels in corporate that it makes us
Maybe.
all highly suspicious of each other, which I'm so sad for because,
Yeah.
man, when women decide to back each other, you can't stop
You can't
us.
stop us. Yeah, you're so true. And I had some great women mentors along the way in the corporate world, but what I'll say is that it was it wasn't the what happened most commonly. And
Yeah.
I think that that's one thing I just really realized about the world of entrepreneurship. Let's talk about just what do you feel is the most difficult part of launching businesses for a woman?
Oh, I mean, I think there's two. One is because we tend to be super conservative,
Hmm.
we never do this really good financial rigor of what does the first year's revenue and net income look like? And then what's the financial freedom number that I need to be able to launch that business? So we're a little bit scared, or maybe we don't feel we have the skills. So we don't do that. We don't look at that spreadsheet and go, if I got one new client a month, I could replace my corporate salary in 18 months. Okay, this maybe I could do that. So I think that that's one big chunk. And I think
Do
the
the
second,
math again.
do the
That
math.
do the math,
Just do
right?
the math.
I
And do it
totally
again
agree
and
with
do it
it.
again until
Yeah.
it's something.
And walk in, it's always good too if you can walk in with some sort of a cushion, some sort because it takes a while
Yes.
to build.
That's that financial freedom number we talk about. Like
Mhm.
you have to have a cushion, but you don't have to have, your kid's college education as your cushion,
Right,
you
right.
know? And then I think the other one, and so many women I talk to, and this is all over the book, they don't do their list of personal non-negotiables. It is okay. I mean, Victoria's non-negotiable at Claremont was unless we're traveling, she was going to make the 4:45 train every night so she could have dinner with her kids, do homework, and sometimes that meant she'd put them to bed and she'd work from 9
Hmm.
p.m. to 3 a.m. But that was her number one. My number
Yeah.
one had to do with the weekends for my own kids. And so part of it was just so helpful because we were together. And so we were really feeding off each other to say, well, what will we not miss for our kids? We've done the financials. We're starting to get comfortable. We can do that. How about our lives, who we want to be? And because we wrote that down and we sort of boiled it down to one or two things, then we housed it with the other. It would
Yeah.
often be me that would be like, no, we can't do a 4:30 meeting. You have a 4:45 train. We got to do it the next morning. And vice versa. She would do it with me all the time. That was really helpful. And I think both those things allow you, even during launch, to have a sense of control. And I do think as women, we want control. If we have control, we feel better. And your personal and financial, that gives you a semblance of control.
I love this because I think when we create those non-negotiables for ourselves, we are building businesses we actually love. And
Yes.
that's the thing we can't do in the corporate world, right? It's like
Yeah.
you're constrained with too many things. And that's one of the things I tell my clients all the time is like this is the opportunity for you to get to define what you want your business to look like, how you want it to run, how you want it to feel. And that is such there's such freedom in that. to be
Right,
able
all the
to
years
build
of you
businesses.
showing up at work and not being happy, this is your moment of planning
Yeah.
where you get to create the thing that doesn't make you unhappy. Take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your book. I mean, why did you decide to write your book right now? Because it's
Oh,
coming out September
22nd. Just
22nd. So
yeah,
congratulations. That's a big deal.
thank
Always.
you.
Yeah.
It was burning a hole so hard in my stomach. Like it was burning. And part of it was the playbook itself, the how to was because so many women after I had sold had approached me and said, "Can I talk to you about this? Can you help me with this?" And I found myself saying basically the same five or six things, which have turned into the five power moves. I mean, I didn't know at the time I was saying them, they were the power moves. They were just the things that I was saying that I knew to be true. So part
Right.
of it was, I mean, a huge part of it was, I'm going to get this on paper because, gosh, at some point, I don't want to talk to anyone else on Zoom or the phone ever again. I want to read all
Yeah.
day and take my trips and spend time with my kids. So that was part of it. And then the second was, it got very addictive. So the minute I wrote the power moves, I sent it to the publisher. They said, this isn't really a book. I'm like, it certainly is. They said, no, it's not your story. It's not your book. It's a book.
That's so
And they
funny.
gave me an editor that was so amazingly good at pulling out our stories, right? Victoria and my stories. And we would write
I'm
it down.
laughing. I'm laughing because when I wrote my book, Fire Dancer: Your Spiral Journey to a Life of Passion and Purpose, that was exactly what my editor said.
Was
I
it
was like, I sent it to her, and I'm like, I don't know what this needs. It needs something, and she's like,
something?
"What? Where's your stories?" So
Yeah. Why
I'm
didn't we
totally
want to?
laughing with you on that.
Why didn't we want to? And then did you find I would tell her a story, right? The
Hmm.
editor, and she would say, okay, write it down. And when I would write it down, like, did you find this? Suddenly you would sort of look at it and go, oh my God, that was as crazy as I remember it. You
Yeah,
know, that
definitely.
was amazing. That was terrible, whatever it was. And suddenly
Like
you
you
were
put
really,
yourself in the moment, right? It takes you
yes,
back when you write it. It's like it takes you back to that place and you go, oh, yeah,
that's
I
why I
remember
thought.
all the emotions. I remember all the things that were there.
And it's super addictive because as you go further in it, I thought, oh, good. When I, left my kid at hockey practice for 2 hours too late and, someone else had to bring him home, someone's going to read that and they only left their kid at tennis practice and they were late a half an hour. They're going to feel better about how stupid I was in my story. I mean, as it got there, I just kept thinking, this has got to make a mom feel better because
Yeah,
we had
yeah,
done, so many crazy things that
yeah.
I
I
just
love
wanted
that you're looking at it through that lens of how can you help moms feel better and any
because we
entrepreneurs
feel
feel better.
terrible.
Yeah, because we do. We so easily fall into that guilt phase of and versus looking at it like, okay, well, I'm juggling a lot of things here, and what can I do to maneuver through
Yes.
this in a way that works better for me?
Yes, I'm doing 75% of the stuff right. I only have 25% pinch points. Where can I fix some of those pinch
Yeah,
points that will make me happy and accordingly a better and more present mom? I
yeah,
was not I was not that person when I was running these businesses. I sort of got there towards the
yeah,
end.
yeah. So what were you said you have five, what did you call them? Your five,
Power moves.
five power moves. What are a couple of those power moves?
Okay, my favorite ones are first of all, the first one, which is launch, which is prioritize your business, not your passion project. Because I do
Mm,
think women have
yes.
this great idea for a product and then they haven't built out the total addressable market, looked at the competitive situation, assessed that they can get 1% of it, and that would be a pretty darn good company, and gone with it. So that's my absolute number one there is, and even if you've just started a small business, go back and do it, just
Yeah,
make sure that that is the right size. We
yeah,
have one on building your kitchen cabinet, which has been, and that one's so prescriptive because so many women come and say, gosh, you have such a network. How could I ever build that? I'm like, well, first of all, I'm 58. So, and I'm good at
yeah.
keeping in
You've been
touch
doing
with.
it a while.
But second, I, again, as this editor worked with Victoria and I, she's like, no, 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 you guys have a way you do this. You both do it the same way and you have a way you do it. We're like, no, no, we just reach out to people. And they're like, no, 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 no. And she made us look at our emails and our DMs, look at our meetings, really pull apart how we asked to meet someone, how we asked for the favor, how we returned it. So all of that's
Nice.
in there, including like literally the exact DMs we used because we thought it would be helpful.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I love is on mastering the art of the pivot, the macro pivot, the big ones we all know about, or the micro ones. And so much of what we ended up doing that ended up to be smart were a series of micro pivots, not the
Ooh,
massive
nice.
change the business pivot.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. It's like it's the shift versus the big
Yes.
gigantic pivot that's there.
And I think women are amazing at that.
Yeah.
Like once they get in the mindset of it, like we're constantly juggling and just making a little bit of a shift to figure out what might work better. That is, I'm telling you, that is our secret sauce as moms and women.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. So your message to women is to start, to take one step and do one hard thing towards
Yes.
a goal. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm, and Victoria's worse than me. I'm a huge maker of lists, right? Like, I mean, her list would terrify you. They're color coded, they're 3 pages. And I found the busier that I was and the longer my list got done, I got less done and my stress level went way up.
Yeah.
And I started talking to a therapist who really helped
Mm-hmm.
me
Mm-hmm.
and reading books. And what I figured out, which was so powerful to me that I can't believe I didn't know till I was, 45, is that you only have a certain amount of like staying power in any given day. You only have a certain amount of gumption, the hard stuff. And you can't make that piece of the pie any bigger. So if you can do the thing that's going to be the hardest for you first thing and get it done,
Mm-hmm.
that was a good day. And you're more likely to get a whole bunch of smaller things done. So, like this morning, I had just a stupid, painful personal thing I had to do, putting it off 5 days in a row. My rule is if it's on my list for 5 days, day six, I'm doing it. I sat on the phone with my daughter's insurance company for an hour and a half this morning. I mean, usually it's business, but that one I was like, oh my God, I got to
I've
resolve
got to
this.
do
So,
this.
that one hard thing, even if that's all you do,
Yeah.
you are in such a better spot because like you got the thing that was on your to-do list done. You like moved the mountain for an hour. I found that. I'm sorry for how late in my life it took me to figure that out.
I know that is a great tip because I think it's one of those things that we just we feel first we feel like we've accomplished something, and second I think it sets the engine for other things getting done.
Yes.
I've certainly been in that mode. I was gone last week, so this today I've been in that mode of like going through and checking things off. But it did start with that very first thing at the
The
beginning of
one
the day. Yeah, so I love it, love it. Okay, so where can people learn more about you and Female Mavericks, and then also your book?
Well, you can buy our book on pre-order on Amazon.
Yay!
But if you go to www.femailemavericks, there's two things. You can buy the book, and if you buy the book on our website, you also get the course for free, which is a super value, is a really good, you'll get value out of the course. But if you're not investing in anything right now, our newsletter called Founders File, which again, femailemavericks.com, Founders File pops up. I write something once a week and it's always free and it's always going to be free and they're all topics around launching and building a business. So at least start there. It's really good stuff. It's probably a 7-minute read and I hope it's a good read that you have once a week.
That's awesome. I love to write every week too. I'm in the same rhythm of writing once a week, and it feels really like I
Yeah.
don't know. I like it. It's like what do I need to write about this week? And it's just it's a really good way for me to share things that I'm putting out in the world, and it's also just it's a way I create. It's just I like to write,
Yeah.
so I
Right. I'm
share that
not
with
gonna.
you.
I wish I could paint or draw or sew or all these amazing things. I can't.
Writing's a good skill
Yes.
set. Yeah.
It took someone to say writing's creative. Doesn't
Oh,
that count?
totally.
I
Yeah.
never thought about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to bring all your wisdom to the table. I mean, it's what a gift for people. I love it. So, what the closing question I always do is, what are three pearls of wisdom you want to leave with us today?
Okay. Today's a good day for that because I'm trying to employ these pearls of wisdom. Number one, the thing you're dreading that's terribly painful, get it out of the way. It's that one hard thing a day. Just that one thing, do it. Number two, every single day, pick up the phone, have a conversation with someone that can help you in your business, can help you in your personal life, and maybe you'll be able to return the favor.
Yes,
You're
yes, yes, yes.
just like pick up the phone, not a DM, not a text. Your text could be, do you have 5 minutes? At the end of that conversation, almost every time, at a minimum, you feel better. At a maximum, you actually have an answer to a problem you have. And number three, and I know people are all over the board about this, have your goal, and it has to be a numerical goal. It doesn't have to be reach 10 million in revenues. It could be add 10 people to my community, get 5 newsletters out, whatever it is. But have that goal in front of you at all times and have it be measurable. Don't have it be soft. It's so much nicer when it's soft because you can really fudge if you're getting there or not. But when it's numeric, you can't.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one. I love it. I love it. This has been so much fun, Beth. Thank you for all your good wisdom. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to get your book and just dive into it. It sounds
Oh my gosh.
fabulous.
I loved it. I love talking to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for being here.